Okay.
All right. Well,
Hey,
hello everyone.
hello.
Um, can everyone hear us? Okay, let's get some thumbs up in the chat.
Right.
I'm seeing some high alls. That's good. That's good.
That's right. That's good. Yeah. I should also say something.
I see a yes in the chat, so that's good. That means somebody heard us, so that's a plus.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Well, welcome everyone to the session number 4 of building an e-commerce site on AstraDB. And in this one, we're going to focus on order processing. And in addition to myself here, we also have Mary Grigelski along.
Hello.
Did I say that correctly?
Yeah, that you are
Woo-hoo!
right.
Right.
You, no
Well,
problem.
that's
Yeah.
one thing. Growing up in the Midwest, you get good at saying Polish last names, right?
Yes, that's right. That's right. Yeah. Very nice. Thank you again for inviting me to
Oh,
join you. Yeah,
of
Aaron.
course. Of course. And in addition to Mary and I, there's a whole slew of folks who helped us behind the scenes in putting this together. Specifically I want to call out Stefano who is on here who's actually hosting this, and kind of bringing Mary and I in and kind of showing us the ropes on how to do hosting and all. So really, really glad that we've got Stefano helping us out for sure.
Yes.
And I just wanted to say too, someone who's not pictured here is Chris Wilhite. Chris has been along for the ride and has basically built the entire front end to our specifications for every single session that we've had, and he's just been amazing. So yeah, that's that.
That's right. Yeah. And of course, Aaron, too, you, the one who actually has been putting this all together. So thank you so much. And yeah,
Oh,
it's really,
of course, you know
yeah.
it's like it's like good code. It's just got to come out of your head, right?
Yeah.
So of
Yeah.
course, as you could tell, we're all doing the lightsaber Bitmoji. We're all a bit of we all kind of like Star Wars, which is a huge coincidence that today is actually Star Wars Day. Um, so if you go to starwars.com right now, you'll see that this is their landing page, and it's May the 4th be with you, because it's May the 4th. Yeah, okay, right. And actually, I tried to put our Bitmojis on there, and I had a 50-50 guess, to get it right, but it looks like I've got us reversed. But that's
Oh, that's right. No problem. That's funny. Yeah. Yeah. That's
all
cool.
right. So happy Star Wars Day, everyone. Well, there you go.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so many. I think a lot of you are also fans, right? Star Wars fans. So yeah, this is the day. So yeah. Yeah.
All right. Well, this is a little about me. So yeah, I'm a database engineer by trade. Author. I've written a couple of books on Cassandra. I was an engineering lead over at Granger and Target, building out e-commerce systems. And I lead the Stack Overflow Cassandra tag and rep. So I've done a lot of a lot of work out there helping folks along too. So yeah. Now for Mary,
Oh,
can you tell us a little about yourself?
sure. Thank you, Aaron. Thank you so much. So I've been with DataStax for about 8 weeks now, and it's been wow. It's actually such a great company. It's just so much to do, so much to learn, and really great place. And of course now with Aaron, who's like one of the leading authorities on Cassandra. So it's really, really, it's really is an honor. So many great folks around here, and Stefano behind the scenes, and everybody. So anyway, so about me, I'm a developer advocate. I've been an advocate for 4 years ago. I was at IBM. So primarily, I've been doing mostly Java stuff, but then I'm actually just a developer. I was a developer before this for over 20 years too. So I'm also a Java champion and president of the Chicago Java Users Group, and currently I'm working on the streaming product offering. So today I'll be introducing you to some of the streaming side of things. And Aaron also invited me because of that, so thank you. And
Oh, yeah.
yeah, so other things I worked with that involves like open source too, like on IBM open source they have like microprofile and the what is it, Open Liberty, and then Jakarta EE, all those things. But again, I'm just a enthusiast. I like all kinds of stuff, so it just excites me. I'm a passionate developer advocate. So yeah, so that's about me. So yeah, thank you, Aaron. So
Oh, of course. Of course. All right. So, of course, today, well, I'll have a slide at the end on homework, but we actually do have an e-commerce workshop badge that you can earn, in this session as well. I looked at it. I don't think the homework's terribly hard, but yeah, we'll see. We'll see how many folks we get to submit for it.
Yep.
All right. So, really quick, just some quick housekeeping things. We have our live stream out on YouTube.DataStax or YouTube DataStax Devs, which I'm sure most of you are out there on. We're also, out on Discord. If you have questions during the workshop and maybe they're a little more complicated or wordy for the for YouTube's chat, you can go out to our Discord server and ask in the workshop. I think it's the workshop help channel. Yeah, and of course we'll also have some quizzes out on menti.com as per usual. All right. So with that, let me jump over to Menti here. And if everyone wants to, the Menti code is available up here. It's the 459696535. All right. 45. Oh, right. Yep. So of course I typed that wrong, but that's okay. All right. So hey, if you're in Menti, let's get some thumbs up in there, huh? And note that I'm pretty sure that Stefano got Nightbot running, so you can just do like a what is it a bang Menti, and that'll go ahead and also give you the code. Oh, hey, we got 4 people in there. All right, all right. I mean, I guess we don't want to hold up the content too long, so maybe we'll oh hey, there's 5, 7, 8. Okay, cool. People are finding it. 9. Can we get double digits? If we go double digits, I'll start. Oh, we're sitting at 9. I just had to say that, didn't I? Right? Oh, there's 10. Outstanding, outstanding. Okay, so let's go. This first one is pretty simple. It's just where in the world are you from? So we have this map here. Oh, hey, and we have two in India already. I'll go ahead and tick Minneapolis if I can here. Oh,
Oh.
right, wrong one. Clicking on the presentation isn't going to work. I've got to go to my other browser. There we go. All right. Oh, wow. Somebody from is that Peru?
Oh,
I think way south there.
looks like so, right? Yeah,
Oh, that's awesome.
that's right. Amazing. Yes.
Yeah. Oh, and yep, some folks in Europe as well. That's good. That's good.
Yeah.
All right.
Awesome.
Okay,
Great.
let's move on a little bit here.
Cool.
So, what is your primary programming language? And we won't spend a whole lot of time on this one. I just, wanted to get a smattering of kind of where everyone is. Um, I will I will go ahead and tick Java. That's the one I feel most comfortable in. I mean, I'm not a Java champion like Mary is, but I do I do
No,
play around.
you're good.
Oh, that was Argentina. Someone corrected us in the in the
Oh,
chat. Yeah,
and this. Oh, okay. Cool. Oh, nice.
yeah. Well, welcome from Argentina.
Yeah, that's right. It's just great. I think I noticed too, folks also from all continents,
Right,
also
right.
in Africa too. Wow, that's pretty amazing. So,
Oh. Hey, lots of Java people. Hey, lots of Python folks here too. That's good. That's
yeah,
good. All right. So
great.
let's move on just a little bit here. What is your experience with NoSQL databases? All right.
Oh,
Lots of folks who are new to NoSQL. All right.
that's
No,
great.
and that's good too, because when it comes time to the amount of detail we kind of give in terms of coloring out a slide, it's good to know the audience a little bit to just know how much of
Yeah.
the fundamentals we need to cover and how much time we need to spend on that. So that
Yes.
is yeah, yeah. Thanks everyone for filling that one out. Outstanding.
Cool.
And have you attended a previous e-commerce workshop? I suppose I'll skew the results here by saying all three.
Ah.
Hey,
Oh,
somebody's a couple
yeah.
people have been to one. That's good.
One is all three, so nice.
Yeah, the all three is me. But lots of new folks. Oh, somebody's been to two. Hey, all right, all right.
That's that
That's
is
good.
that's
Oh,
great.
someone else has been to all three. Outstanding, outstanding.
Oh, great.
Good. Well,
Yeah.
we'll actually cover some of the same material here. So if you missed, all three, anything that's truly fundamental to getting the ecom service layer and its components to work, we will still cover that in at least good enough detail for folks who have never touched it before. So that's okay.
Mhm.
All right. Now I'm trying to remember if I think this is the last one, right? Yeah, okay. So let me break out of there and jump back to here. All right. So we've gone through Menti already, but really just kind of a quick run through on the tools that we're going to be talking about today. Obviously, we're going to be talking a lot about Astra, Astra DB, and Astra streaming. Gitpod, of course, is going to be one of the tools that we'll use as well. For those of you who've never used Gitpod before, it's pretty seriously cool. It works in conjunction with GitHub. So essentially, it'll pull down a repo and you know build it up inside of an IDE right in your browser there, and you actually get a Linux command line as well that you can use to kind of work with it. So yeah, so these are the three tools that we're going to be focusing on, or they're going to use today to get a lot of our project done. Okay, well, let's start getting into the guts of it here. So if we want to talk about the architecture, this is part 4 of common e-commerce retail, commonly mentioned as e-tail use
E-tail.
cases.
Now I know what that was. I was like, wait, e-tail.
Yeah, it's an amalgamation of
Yeah.
some. Anyway, so the whole idea was to, with this series is to talk about, like showing real scalable solutions backed by, AstraDB, Astra Streaming, and actually building it out very easily with Spring Boot. So that's the technology stack we're going to talk about today. Mary, have you done a lot with Spring Boot?
Yeah, I've done some work with Spring Boot. I think in the Java world, I think a lot of us are in
Oh yeah,
here
yeah.
familiar. Most folks, I believe, are using Spring Boot. Yeah, it is very convenient, I should say, right? The
Right, right.
initializer, startup, everything is easily, yeah, you can put together. Not to say very easy, but it's just a more opinionated framework that you can kind of get adopted to it quickly, so
Sure,
adapt to it quickly. So
sure.
yeah.
You know what's funny is I've done Java for I mean probably 12 years now, but I had never touched Spring Boot until I came to DataStax. That was
Oh,
yeah, yeah. That was something that Cedric's like, "Oh yeah, we're going to build out the service with this." And I'm like, "Spring, really?" And hey, it ended up being really great. I have to say
yeah.
I'm fairly impressed with it so far. So,
Yeah, totally, totally. Yeah, I agree. Because it was, if you know, right, a bit of background, it was like before Spring Boot was all the Java EE, the Enterprise
oh,
Edition, and
right, right.
previous versions, I do have to say, was very hard to use. It's primarily all the configurations. You have to do a lot of all these things, kind of wiring them up together. So
Yeah, a
Spring
lot
Boot,
of boilerplate code.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly. So Spring Boot really lightens up that aspect, the injection of control, right?
Right.
So it makes it a lot easier too. So yeah,
Oh, for sure. For
or
sure.
inversion of control, yeah, and then through injection. That's what I meant.
All right. So, those of you who have been to our workshop for this series before are familiar with this slide. Basically, we talk about how the web front end is our user interface with and Chris built it out with Node.js and React using components from Tailwind CSS, um, making it pretty easy to put a full functioning site together. Um, and then on the service layer, of course, that's where we're building out with RESTful services through Spring Boot. And then the data backend is on DataStax's ASTRA kind of abstracted away by Spring Data Cassandra. So today, the change that we're making to this. Oh, right, I animated the slide. One more. Hey, there we go. All right. Is to work
Yeah.
with Astra streaming. And the idea is, I mean, we'll explain it as we go along, but once you run through the checkout process, the idea is that the order itself gets streamed to another business unit, which helps process it along. So that is what we're going to try to show today.
Yeah.
All right. So why AstraDB? Well, the choice of AstraDB really goes back to Brewer's cap theorem, and for those of you who haven't done a whole lot with cap theorem in the world of data and persistence, it's really about how all distributed systems try to achieve things like consistency, availability, and network partition tolerance. But the catch is they can only really pick two. So what happens is that when you look at cap and you put it on like a pie chart like I have here, you really end up getting these designations that are combinations of each of like two of the letters. So we have like CP for systems that are consistent and partition tolerant, CA for systems that are consistent and highly available, and then AP for systems that are both highly available and partition tolerant. So you might ask as well, okay, well, how does that relate to the database world? Well, there are certain databases that that adhere to each one of these designations. If you're using a relational database, something like Postgres or MariaDB, that's going to fall under the CA designation originally, anyway. If you're using something like Couch or Mongo, those are distributed, but they also do make an attempt to be consistent first. So those would actually count as what's known as like a CP database or a CP system. And then finally, we have Apache Cassandra and DataStax AstraDB over in the AP side. And the idea there is that they're choosing to be distributed or tolerant of disruptions in the network, but also highly available. And those are architecture level decisions that really do kind of lend themselves to the web and to the e-commerce world, where really all of your data. I mean, I know this might sound counterintuitive, but it doesn't all need to be 100% consistent all of the time. So it falls under the paradigm of eventual consistency. Where when you write an update in one geographic region, you really need it available in all geographic regions right away. And it may or may not be that way. And yeah, well, in reality, that consistency latency is really only about like double-digit milliseconds. It happens pretty quickly, usually. All right. So we talked a little about relational databases, but why not a relational database for something like this? And the idea is that scaling, is limited when you're talking about a relational database system. Remember, the idea is that all relational databases were really built to exist within a single instance. And that's not the case anymore. I know that there are many relational databases that do offer that can be distributed now. But that data distribution is really an add-on rather than a core component. So it doesn't function as well as databases that are designed to be distributed from the start. And that data distribution, especially when you start getting into like wide range geographic distribution, is where that can be problematic, and you can have issues with locking or consistency that may kind of pop up. Now, you might think that, hey, maybe we could use a document store, which is distributed. The thing is, though, is that design choice of a document store or a CP database puts consistency first, and that really does kind of limit throughput in a lot of like write-heavy scenarios. And additionally, what can happen there too is that I definitely saw this in my time. In my last job where I was, kind of the engineering lead for a lot of different database teams. Our reads with our document store became CPU bound very quickly if they weren't architected quite right. And the thing with document stores is that they talk about, oh, they're schemaless. Well, schema is actually kind of important, and it's okay when you don't have it, until you start getting big, until your data sets really start becoming, important and rich in content that you'll start to wish you'd implemented a schema from the beginning. Anyway, the other thing too is that document stores also solve the distribution problem by using different node types. So you'll have like primary nodes, secondary nodes, ingest nodes, and other and nodes that serve only specific roles. And that can make things difficult for DevOps, and especially if you're like, trying to take your technology stack into something like Kubernetes, it can make it very, very difficult to do. So that takes us to AstraDB. So the nice thing with Astra is that it's a managed service with Apache Cassandra under the hood. It has no operational overhead because, we kind of manage that for you. It allows geographic awareness, which is really cool because if you have users in London and on, say the West Coast of the United States, you don't want your users in London making a data call all the way to California and then waiting for it to come all the way back. That's not going to be fast. So you're going to want your data close by to where your customers are at. And the nice thing with Astra is that it's not bound to a single cloud vendor. You can have a cluster that spans Azure and AWS and Google. And the cool thing too is that we also have no-touch scalability, so that when we have some AI and ML in there that figures out when your cluster is starting to reach a point of resource contention, in which case we go ahead and allocate some more resources to you. All right, so Mary, this next one is for you. Why
Okay.
Astra? Why Astra streaming? I mean, couldn't I just, I don't know, do this with Kafka or something like that?
Yeah, sure. I mean, you can do Kafka, but I wanted to bring to your attention that now, Astra Streaming, although I think right now we're not officially all released yet at this point. I just joined, so correct me, right, Aaron? But
Okay.
I know that, yeah, we have the streaming capability, and I wanted to give a bit of an introduction if it is new for some folks around here. So what Astra Streaming is, it is a cloud native data streaming and event processing service that is tightly integrated into the Astra DB cloud platform. And as such, it is powered by Apache Pulsar. So it is an open source, entirely open source library. But we kind of added into Astra DB, and then that's Astra Streaming. So is the DataStax kind of offering too,
Mhm.
in this case. And what its main purpose is that it will augment the current Astra database capabilities with PubSub messaging, queuing, and streaming too. So that's actually a very strong point. Not only are you able to do PubSub type of messaging, you can actually do queuing as well, and then the streaming processing as well, message mediation. So it's really like a very powerful event-driven like streaming platform.
Right.
So
Right.
yep, yep, and
Excellent.
then yeah. Again, next slide. So that's a nutshell about what it is, but we'll go a little more, giving you a bit more information too. So Aaron, if you can
Oh, yes.
advance the slide. Yeah, thank you. Thank you. So just a bit more information too for those of you who are curious, right? And then of course we have tons of information, and I'll be doing a lot more talks. I've already started doing talks on Pulsar. So what it is a unified messaging and streaming platform. The strength of it is that it was designed from the ground up, right? It was started by Yahoo back in like 2015, around that time frame, because they were actually looking into Kafka. I mean, Kafka can do its job, but it's not like being designed from the ground up to take into consideration the cloud native type
Right.
of infrastructure.
Right.
So Yahoo then took it and kind of make it a kind of sort of think of it like a step up kind of messaging platform that supports like multi-tenancy, especially in a cloud native environment, your clusters and everything. So it makes everything more easily manageable too in a cluster type of environment. And also too, it has geo replication, so that's already built in. So that as developers, we don't have to worry so much about all the details and doing all these. How do you replicate things, and you can configure certain types of data to be replicated. Some are not, because for example in Europe there's GDPR, right? Kind
Mm.
of a privacy thing. So there are certain data that you only want to do in a certain region. So those things you can actually configure. So that's just a highlight of that. And then the thing with Pulsar, why is it, again, in a nutshell too, there's so much to share, but just wanting to point out, it is very powerful too. It's very capable because Pulsar itself concentrate on compute side of things. And as such, right, messaging systems are dealing with a lot of logging, because any messages that goes through the broker, you're being like logged, right? So the log
Right.
messaging,
Right.
the storage side is actually not, Pulsar decided not to manage it. I will delegate it to Apache Bookkeeper, another open source Apache project. And that's what the strength is. Bookkeeper will manage all of the logs for you. So that's why too, when it gets into scalability side of things, having another service do that is just a lot more efficient. So kind of separation of concern, so to speak. And also too, on the cluster level management too, is being managed by Apache Zookeeper for like distributed kind of system. So that's just a quick peek into Apache Pulsar. Yeah,
Excellent.
yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah, I think I might have just a couple more slides, and before I bore you.
Oh, yeah. Look at
Okay,
that. Here we
yeah,
go.
sure. So yeah, so just a little more too about benefits of Pulsar, right? So what it is, what is it that do we need it? First and foremost is the real-time processing capability that it can bring. In this case, Astra streaming, bring it to Astra DB, the real time, and it's fast access to data, and really helps you to develop and design a modern system architecture, enabling you to do, for example, like machine learning ops, ML ops, and streaming data analytics. These will be like a really good kind of capability you can leverage on to do that type of application. And overall, it's really a win-win situation because you get a much more responsive systems, and it's real-time dynamic data. Everything is there, and you give really good customer experience. So that's kind of like the goal of having Azure streaming. So
Oh,
yeah.
excellent. Excellent.
Yep. I might
All
have
right.
one more. Yeah. Okay. And okay, just a kind of like ease of use too, right? So you'd be wondering, like, well, then Pulsar, how do I use it? So in Astra DB2, you can already define your Astra streaming capability. You create the stream, and essentially these are Pulsar instances. There are different tenants, and all these things. I mean, of course, there are a lot of terminologies, but we will guide you in the example that Aaron put together, right? And I'm kind of helping out. And we're creating the stream, all inside Astra DB, the console too. You can manage the Pulsar clusters, and it's scale across all the regions. And it helps you to manage all the Pulsar resources like the topics, the connectors, the functions, and the subscriptions. Today, we'll only be kind of focusing for the order processing on the topics.
Mm-hmm.
But if you want to get it even fancier, right, building data pipelines, and we'll have another workshop on those. We cannot actually do those too. But today, Aaron kind of did a great job putting together the topics, and we get things working for the order processing. So that's just a quick kind of overview to let you know how you can use it. So
Awesome. Well, thank you, Mary.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you, Aaron.
All right. Oh,
Oh,
yeah, here we go.
I
Well, why
actually
not a
have one more
database,
too.
right?
This one, okay, just a really, really quick thing then. Why not a database, right? That is true. Like you're wondering, well, database, of course, you can use database to do what you need to do. I just want to kind of illustrate an example to kind of show you why you want to use streaming. So, for example, right, there's a pattern, right, called change data capture. As such, too, it detects changes in your database, and then it kind of does all the things and write it, right? Write it to a target data source. For example, another database, you can do that. So currently, too, for example, is a log-based type of change data capture. And here I have a picture. If you take a look into it, right, you're both, everybody's writing to the database, and essentially you get logged. All of the changes get logged. So basically, then it goes through the CDC type of process. Traditionally is the extract, transform, load, right? Target source. You can do that. And so you can see too, okay, then the latest update will win. That will get written into your target. So all good, you can do that. But the issue with this approach is that it's actually slower. There's always this performance concern. And also, what if you have in a cluster environment like Aaron was talking about ASTRA, using like DB, not ASTRA, but just using database, and you also have the scalability kind of concern. So that's why you want to use like a streaming platform. For example, the service that we have in Astra DB that helps you with this aspect and make it more efficient. So, yeah, so that's the reason for it. So thank you.
All
So
right.
yeah, I think
Excellent.
that's all the slides I have about Astra streaming today. Thank you.
No, that's good. And I like this one because I think it lays out, like for a lot of people who are visual learners about like what's going on and what might be a good use of something like this. So
Yeah.
so yeah.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, that's right. I think it's exciting. Yeah, the potential of what event streaming can bring to, your workplace or your systems design. So yeah,
No, for sure. For sure.
yeah. So
All right.
okay.
So, let's jump over to the first actual to-do that we have here for our workshop. And for those of you who have who are on the Git repo here, I didn't put a link in there for the fourth slide deck, but it's there. Trust me. Oh yeah, see, there we go. Slides week 4. Yeah, I'll just need to update the README. Okay. So we were talking about step 2. Let's see. All right, so we're going to create AstraDB and our streaming instances. So, you know what I'm going to do here is pull another window over here. And we'll jump right out to Astra. So the link to this is actually right here. It's this astra.datastacks.com. There we go. All right. So you can sign in either with or sign up if you haven't, either with GitHub or Google. I'm actually going to use my personal Google account to kind of walk through all this. All right, and when you sign in or sign up, you should see like this kind of screen here. This is our dashboard for those of you who haven't been out here before, and you can actually create everything you'll need to do for the workshop today, absolutely for free. You shouldn't be asked for payment information at all. And I think the way it works is that you get like a certain amount of credits per month, as far as like data storage and data transfer. But really, if you're just doing the workshop exercises, and even if you're doing an like an R&D project for your job, the chances of exceeding that credit is that's pretty low. So yeah, I think you'll be okay. So what we want everyone to do is to go ahead and click on this Create Serverless Database button. So I'll go ahead and do that. And it's going to ask me for, first of all, what do I want to name my database? And then it's asking for a key space name. Now, the database name, in the steps, we just have it to call it, we just say to call it demos. And, that's okay. You can do that. Really, the database name isn't terribly important logically. So you can kind of name that whatever you want. However, the key space name of e-commerce here, that is important. So make sure that you are naming it e-commerce. The next step here, yep. Let's see. Oh, yeah. For provider and region, just for now, let's stick with GCP or Google Cloud Platform. I think right now that is the only region that our free tier allows. So what I'm going to do is, since I'm up in Minneapolis in Minnesota, I'm going to click on North America. And, oh, hey, there's one in Iowa. Look at that. Outstanding. Nice and close by.
Yeah.
And then we'll do a create database. All right, so this is going to spin for a little bit. It actually will take, probably a few minutes for the database to come up. And you can see that I have my demos database name here. There's my database ID. And it's got a status of pending right over here. All right. And for those of you who are having trouble, we actually have an animated GIF here inside the README that kind of walks you through this step as well. So when you're all done, oh yeah, I did kind of talk about that. That is, it should change to a status of active. If you can see that in the README. But what we're going to do is continue on and also create our streaming tenant, since ASTRA streaming is also going to be a part of our workshop as well. So I'm going to go ahead, and while I'm waiting for my ASTRA database to come up, I'm going to click on Create Stream. All right. Now, for creating a stream, or a streaming tenant, that is, there's a quick note here in that tenant names must be unique across providers. So just to ensure uniqueness, name it e-commerce dash and then followed by like your name, or if you want your company's name, or maybe your dog's name, something that that makes it unique to you is a good idea. So I'm going to go with e-commerce dash Aaron, just like that. I'm also going to stay in the Google Cloud region, although I'm pretty sure that our free tier for streaming should allow you to pick any provider. But yeah, I'll stick in GCP and US Central 1. All right. And then I'll click on Create Tenant. Okay. And, actually, it looks like my database is online. And your streaming resources are provisioned like almost right away. But yeah, as you can see here, these are my tenant details. Maybe I'll zoom in on that a little bit here. But there's my my tenant name. I'm in the US Central 1 region. This broker service URL is going to be important later. And then we'll worry about the token later as well. But yeah, it looks like this all came up. All right, let me just scroll down and, oh, right, we're going to add our topics. That's right. Okay, so I'm going to go find this topics tab over here. And if I click into that, you can see I'm using the default namespace, and that's okay. That's okay for now. And I'll go ahead and click on Add Topic. Now, in the README, it says the first one I should create is for pending orders. There we go. I'll leave the defaults because I do want it persistent, and I don't think I need it to be partitioned. So I will just go ahead and click Add Topic. All right, so it says successfully created, but I don't see anything. So it's important to go over and click on this little arrow over here. There we go. And you can see that I have a pending orders topic. And then if I scroll down, it says, hey, go ahead and repeat this process and add 3 more, because we also want to have a topic for orders that have been picked in the warehouse, orders that have been shipped out, as well as orders that have been completed. So let me just adjust that so I can see those names there. And then let's say add topic. So I'll say picked orders. There we go. And then shipped orders. And the last one, completed orders. And we'll add that out there. All right. I think that's it for this part. Yeah, when you're done, you should see something that looks a little like this, where I have my e-commerce Aaron tenant name, and then inside the default namespace, you see I'll have these 4 topics then of completed orders, pending orders, picked orders, and shipped orders. All right. I don't think we create our schema just yet. I really should have looked at this ahead of time, but let me just cheat here by, yep, that's not yet. All right, so we are here, and then we can resume. All right, so hey, we're back. All right, Mary, so now I want to talk a little bit about our specific use case here. Those of you who have been in our workshop, been to these workshop sessions for e-commerce before, have seen this slide, where there's all kinds of different subsystems and pieces that go into, building a full-fledged e-commerce site. The ones we've focused on so far have been what I've kind of considered like the core e-commerce subsystems. So we started off with like product navigation and product hierarchy, product data. And then we kind of went to, building out the shopping cart. Then we went to the user profile. And now we're concentrating on the ordering and checkout process. So again, the whole idea is that, we've gone through, we have our products out there. We can log into the site. So we'll have like our, our name and our address and everything kind of set up in there. We can put products in our cart, and then we can check out. So that's really what today is about. And the reason that streaming becomes important here is because it's really about ensuring that once one of our customers has placed an order, that we're careful that we don't lose it along the way in terms of processing. And that's one thing that that using streaming helps, is that it ensures that delivery of that order data from one business unit to the next. All right. So real quick, I want to talk a little bit about the data models here. For those of you who haven't done a lot of NoSQL or a lot of Cassandra or Astra, these are just some quick tips to help you build things out. The idea with the data modeling approach that we want to take today is all about data modeling for performance and building a specific table to suit a specific query. There are advantages of this, of course, in that your reads become super fast, and your query model is also very simple as well. Of course, we're talking about there are some cons as well, where you have some data duplication, and then you kind of have to do your own manual data integrity enforcement for that duplication. But Cassandra and Astra do give you some tools to help manage that. And really, that duplication aspect is okay. When you think about it, relational databases are really built around optimizing data for storage, not so much for retrieval. E.F. Codd wrote his paper in 1970, and it really took another 10 years after that paper came out for relational databases to start being built as we know it. And really, if you think about it, in 1980, if you wanted to go out and buy a gigabyte of storage, that was $1 million in US. And IBM would send this great big thing that had to get added into your data center next to your mainframe. But it's like today I can go to newegg.com and I can buy a terabyte drive for like $40. So, you know, data storage is cheap these days, so a little duplication isn't that big of a deal. So, quick difference here is that when you look in the relational world, when we're talking about employees and their departments, really those would be broken into two separate tables, and I would query those with a join. Well, in the Cassandra and ASTRA query first modeling paradigm, we would really join those tables together into one to serve that query. In this way, I could pull back a user to see their employee data as well as the data related to their department as well. So that's just one example in terms of how we'll be approaching our data models. So tips for large scale, and again, those of you who have been on before have definitely seen this slide before, but these are just the quick tips that I like to tell folks when they're getting started with this query first data modeling approach. And ultimately, it's data that you query together should be stored together. That just makes things a whole lot easier. As far as like which columns you should use as a key or a partition key specifically, you want to go with something that has high cardinality. And the idea there is that the higher the possible values of your partition key, the better your data is going to distribute in the cluster. If you were to go on like a bad example would be to choose, a partition key that's a Boolean where you really only have, two possible values, true or false. So yes, high cardinality in your partition keys is a good thing. You do want to avoid full table scans. Just remember in the relational world, a full table scan meant that you were jumping all over the disk basically as it was spinning around, back in those days before we had solid state drives. But in today's world, those full table scans really become that query time becomes network time is a better way to put it, because instead of just going on one node's disk, now you're looking at multiple nodes and aggregating the data. So really try to avoid querying an entire table. And then really just the last thing is really just keep things small as you can. Small column values, small partitions, build small result sets. The smaller you can keep it, the faster your data is going to perform. All right. So as far as the data modeling approach goes, I did work out a conceptual model here. Essentially, you have a user on your website, and your user has things like your profile properties, the name, they have an address. In the e-commerce world, I've found that that your users can have multiple addresses. Especially if it's like a company or enterprise account. They'll have like a headquarters address. They'll have a mail to, a bill to, a ship to. I mean, it can all be quite different. A user also has a cart, and a cart contains products. A user can also check out, at which point that creates an order, and the order, of course, also contains those products and quantities and everything else. So that's ultimately what's going to drive the underlying model that we're building today. So some things to think about is that these are the queries or operations that we need to solve for. So we need to be able to place an order. We need to be able to look at a specific order. And we also need to look at, past orders for a specific user, as well as maybe like the timeline of status. And what I mean by that is like if you've ordered something from Amazon and then you go and you look at that order, you'll see that, oh, hey, this order was placed on April 27th, and it was shipped on April 28th, and it's expected to arrive on May 2nd. Something like that. That's like the the status timeline of an order. So really, if this was, when you're thinking about this logically, you really could contain this all in a single table. And in the relational world, that's definitely what you would do. You would have all of the properties of an order, all kind of grouped together. And the other advantage in the relational world is you'd be able to query it by multiple different things. Again, though, however, when we're thinking about data distribution and kind of all the nuances that come along with that, we end up with 3 tables to be able to support the queries that we need. So we'll have an order by ID table, and we'll have an order by user table, and of course, to kind of track all those different statuses, we'll also have an order status history table. So physically speaking, down on the database layer, this is what our data model is going to look like. So again, this is the table definition for order by ID. You'll notice that for anything that's currency related, like the product price or the order total or the tax or subtotal, we're using the decimal type. That maps into Java as the big decimal type. Remember, when you're working with currency types or anything where exact precision is necessary, you will want to use like big decimal or decimal. The floating point and double types, they tend to not be as accurate. And it's really, when you get down to it, it's the difference between fixed precision versus arbitrary precision, and how those are stored underneath. And with float and double, there's a lot of rounding that comes into play. So you definitely want to make sure you're using those decimal types for currency. We're going to be using a user-defined type for address. So you'll notice that shipping address is in here. And then you'll notice that some of these columns are defined as static. And what that means is that those columns are actually stored with the partition key. And in this case, if you look at the key definition, the first column listed is the partition key. And in this case, that is our order ID. So basically anything that's order specific is stored with the order ID. And then anything that's product specific, that's allowed to be an actual row inside of the partition. So that way we can actually store our order data with all the multiple products kind of listed out. And I know that might not be terribly intuitive, but once we put this together and start querying it, you'll get it. There's our address UDT, or user-defined type. And again, what this allows for is for one user to have multiple address types. That's kind of the idea here. We also have an order by user table. And again, it solves that past orders query. And kind of the main thing to point out with this table is that we have, we're partitioning on user ID, we are clustering on order ID. So order ID is what's called our clustering key. And that clustering key helps maintain sort order inside of a partition. And you can see that we're doing it in descending order. Now, order ID, if you look at its type, is a time UUID. So that's actually a a different way of storing, like a I don't want to say a timestamp, because that's actually you can convert into that, of course, but it's a way of storing an exact time. So if we sort by descending, when you query for orders by a specific user, what'll happen is you'll get it sorted with the most recent order at the top. Which I've found that for most time-based use cases, that tends to be what folks prefer. All right, and the last table we have is just this the order status history, and again, really all this is about is just maintaining the status changes and making that visible to the user. And again, we have a time component, status timestamp, that we're clustering on in descending order, and again, that's going to keep the most recent status at the top. So, Mary, now we kind of get to how streaming fits into this. Um, but really, the idea is that when from the website, when we place that order, we kind of want to make sure that we're sending it to one place, and that we have some guarantees that that message gets there and is acknowledged and is received and is all good. So that's kind of the means behind the madness here.
Yeah, yeah, that's a really good example for having a workshop on this to start learning about streaming. So great job, Aaron. So
Oh,
yeah,
thank you.
yeah, and thank you too. Yeah, you have created different topics that map to the function that we want to do for this order processing or order processor. So yeah, so as such, yeah, those are the different topics again. You created for these different functions. So when you kind of select that command, right, so to speak, then it triggers those topics and it
Mhm.
sends the message over. So then the listening side, the consumer side, will then receive it too when the message arrives, at that topic. So as such too, with messaging, right, we're using a pops up type of approach, publish, subscribe. So and as such too, in any kind of pops up as we know, right, pops up messaging pattern is that it makes use of a broker. As such, broker is work is to basically to take care of the messages that comes in and also
Right.
distribute it to the receiving side. So, but I kind of like to use the analogy when it kind of a message broker. It's like a post office.
Oh
We
yeah,
go,
yeah.
it's like publisher. You produce, you have a letter, you want to mail it out, but it's actually that's the thing is that pops up is you don't know who will be receiving it, and that's the
Right.
one difference. Because that will be, up to the ones, like subscribers that are interested in these messages. So it's up to them to subscribe to the message. And so how do you do it, right? The mechanism we use is a topic. To use a topic, think of it like a channel. So I go to the post office and I have these messages I want to give to share. And then I give it to the post office, the broker, and I label it in using a channel name, a topic name, some
Hmm.
name. You
Hmm.
can name something like a demo. And then so now I have, pending have a topic and then basically a pick to maybe have another subscriber that's actually listening to anytime you have a pending topic messages, I will receive it, so the broker will then deliver it to you. And of course too, there are many rules too when you're doing messaging. And yeah,
Absolutely.
so
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, if you can switch to the next slide,
Oh, yeah,
Aaron.
yeah.
Yeah,
Just
do
just real quick too, I just
oh
wanted to
sure.
add that my whole idea with this was to have this like kind of be an abstraction for like different areas inside of like warehouse fulfillment. So you'd send it to pending, and then somebody inside the warehouse would see that coming through, and they'd run a cart out or send the robot out to like go pick the products and pull them back together, and then they'd mark it as picked, and then you can go ahead and send it over to shipping, once it's all gathered, and it'll go ahead and put postage on that and wrap it up, and oh hey, now this has been shipped. And yeah, that was kind of the whole idea behind this, that you know
Yeah,
anyway,
that
so going to the
yeah.
next slide.
Oh yeah, sorry if I kind of
Oh,
interrupted.
no problem, not at all.
Yeah, okay, yeah. So I was gonna say, right, we're using this messaging approach, and also the nice thing is that if you think of it like the example Aaron put together, it's really it enables you to be able to build a pipeline where your data kind of flows through. Think of it kind of really like pipes, in your plumbing system. You kind of a source and then a destination, and you can link all of them together, kind of like that. So messaging requirements, right, in any kind of messaging systems is the order can be important too. So in this case, if you use a pops up, actually it does guarantee the order when it's kind of being sent and then on the receiving side too. And also, again, message delivery, like Aaron also pointed out, is important. We want to guarantee the message gets delivered. So say in Pulsar, right, that's kind of Astra streaming behind the scenes. It has a mechanism to guarantee delivery of messages, like using quality of service type of mechanism, like QoS 1, 0 or 0, 1 or 2, meaning, fire and forget, and then you don't acknowledge it, or you do 1, which is like, I want to deliver it at least once, you allow duplicate. And then there's also QoS 2, which is the most kind of more performance, because you want to guarantee only once, right? In payment kind of situation, you do want to guarantee only once. So that type of stuff. So And then, of course, then it helps with scalability too. High
Oh, for
volumes,
sure.
handling spikes, and all that. Messaging is really a good way of handling or allowing you to kind of, have that kind of a scalability built in to help your system too. So yeah,
Oh, for
so
sure.
that's just a few words about messaging. So yeah.
No, and that's a good point too about scalability, especially with like, when you're talking about like write back pressure. I've seen so many databases go underwater before because writes tend to have more of like a bursty nature in some use cases, and if they get too many coming in at once, that's when problems start to happen. So yeah, this is a good solution for that.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, yeah.
All right. So hey, let's jump back into the README now. And trying to remember where I had my oh, no, not there. Oh, here we go. And I've idled long enough, so I've been signed out and my page has timed out. So let's try this again.
Mine too. That's one thing I've been trying to figure out. Is there some way of overriding that default timeout? So
Yeah. Let's see here. Okay, there we go. Yeah, I just realized I logged in with the wrong account here. So let's jump back to step 3, creating our schema. There we go. So here in the README, I actually have some descriptions in for each of the tables that we've used through all of the sessions. But for the actual steps, the first thing we're going to do is, remember when we named our key space e-commerce? Well, we're going to go ahead and use that key space. But to do that, we're going to just click on our database here. And then, oh, I can see it's online. Outstanding. There's this CQL console tab at the top here. That is what I'm going to click into next. And that's going to load up in a terribly small font. So give me a second to boost that just a little bit here. All right. So I'm going to do a use e-commerce. All right. So there's my statement for that. Now, here we have all of the tables that need to go in here. But the cool thing is that in the README, if you go up in this upper right corner of the code block, we actually have a copy button. So you don't need to worry about like selecting and then pasting it and then hoping that you get it all. You can actually just click that. We'll go back over here and I will just paste that in there. And it's okay that the comments go with it. CQL shell knows to ignore the comments. Oh, and it looks like that last one is kind of a little bit below what we can see, but I see the cursor there. So I'll just hit enter. Okay, so now if I say, ugh, can I clear? Yeah, there we go. Let's do describe key space. Hey, and you can see that all of the tables that we just copied have made it in there. So yay.
love it. So
So the other piece of this is getting some data into these tables. Now, um, all of the tables that we have here are kind of built to collect data as it happens from the site, with the notable exception of the product system. So if you scroll down a little bit here in the README, you'll notice step 4, we have populate the data. And there are some entries here for the category, price, and product tables. Oh, as well as featured product. That's right. That's right. That was the other thing we had to put in there. But anyway, this will just make sure that your online store has something in it. So again, if I go to this code block, in the upper right corner, I have that copy icon. And I go back to here and paste. All of that gets inserted in there. So now, let's say, and I can barely see what I'm typing. For some reason, that bottom line is getting cut off. That's kind of annoying. But the cool thing is that you do have tab complete. So if I just say like half of the table name and hit tab, there we go. You can see that we have 4 rows in the featured product table. So I can tell you that did work. All right. Now, if we scroll down some, oh yeah, after that I just have just some quick notes to talk about, really how the product navigation tables all kind of work together. In the idea behind them. You can read into that if you want, or probably the better solution is to look back at the very first workshop that we ran, and it'll talk about how these were built and what the idea was behind them as well. All right. Let's just make sure. You know what? I'm going to change this around just a little bit. Changing the presentation on the fly, no problem. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about the service layer here. And the service layer, now when we actually fire up the website later, you will be able to go to this address. If it'll be localhost if it's on your own. Through Gitpod, it'll actually be slightly different. But again, though, the idea is that we have these four services here that we're really going to be relying on today. So we have a get that goes to order user ID, and that'll pull back all orders for that user ID. We also have one that goes to the same URL, but does a post. And again, the idea there is that, hey, this user is actually going to place an order. And the order data, the order JSON, actually gets sent along, I think, in the body of the request. And then you look at this next one here for pulling back the status history for an order. So we have order/order ID and then status/history. We'll go ahead and pull that back. And then we also have a way to just get an order back by its ID. So some very simple services here. Probably the most complicated out of all of these is the placing of the order, just because it has a few tables it needs to write to, and then it streams the order out to one of the topics as well. But ultimately, this is what we're looking at today. So for the order by ID, I hope this is easy enough to see. I try to use like higher contrast, fonts and whatnot for the terminal, but really that getting an order by an ID is really like just doing a select from order by ID, where order ID equals, and then you have your your UUID, which is what we use for an order ID. And for this particular order, you can see that it has two products in it. We have a DataStax gray track jacket, and then a DataStax vintage 2015 MVP hoodie. But they all kind of have that different product data, but the same order status and order subtotal, all of the order data is the same. And that's really what I wanted to point out here is that by making those columns static, it makes it so that they can be the same on each row, but you don't have to store them a whole bunch of different times. So that's a bit of an optimization there. Order by user is very simple. It's just simply a quick way to look up an order ID for a user, or all of the order IDs for a user in that sense. And the idea is that on the website, you'll have a, hey, I want to view my orders page. Then you can go there and you can look and you'll see, your order ID, the timestamp or date and time that it happened, as well as its current status and the total. The status history is again simply like this. It's for an order, how many times has the status changed, and what's the most recent. And you can see that this particular order has a status of shipped, so it's actually already gone out. All right. Before we actually jump into that next step in the README, I did want to cover a little bit in the code here. And again, let me increase the font size so that everyone can see what we're talking about here. All right, but I have actually defined a place order method. We have a lot of the post mapping and operation and API response annotations up here that actually works with like the Swagger UI that we've implemented. I have this transactional annotation here. Transactional is actually specific to Spring Data Cassandra. Well, actually, probably just Spring Data, but I digress. And what that allows is that when we have updates to multiple tables, is that it ensures that those updates are happening atomically. So we've already covered that we have 3 tables that kind of talk about order data and have things pertaining to the order. So if we have an update that like goes to 2 of them but fails to 1, we want to make sure that nothing happens because we don't want to have our data in a an inconsistent state. So that's what the transactional annotation actually happens, or actually does, is it kind of it invokes the Cassandra batch keyword, which is what helps ensure that that atomicity there in storage. But as we go through, you can see that we generate a UUID for the order, and then I make sure that it's a time-based UUID. So that makes sure that we're generating a type 1 UUID, which can actually be converted into time. And that is exactly what I'm doing next here, is converting it back into a timestamp. That way we have that timestamp and we can go ahead and set that on our order right away. The next thing here is we have, you can see the use of big decimals. And the idea here is that, hey, we're keeping a running total of all the line items from the cart. We're keeping tabs on, like the tax that we calculate, as well as, shipping and handling. So that's really what Big Decimal helps you do. Kind of the drawback of Big Decimal, and Mary, I'm sure that you've worked with this as well, is that Big Decimal, they're immutable, so kind of like strings in that you can't really change them in memory. You just kind of create new. And Big Decimal also does not overload like your standard, add, subtract, multiply, divide operators. It actually has its own. So I'm doing like the running total, and I'm doing a dot multiply of the tax rate here to figure out what our tax is. Oh, and I should. Oh yeah, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I'm sorry that I'm kind of learning some of these, right? And so that's why to your recommending, I remember I recall that you talk about we don't want to use directly like a float or a double, right? It's all because of this immutability that we want to like have in when we're dealing with these numbers, right?
Right, exactly.
Okay.
And that's the thing, is that really when you look at how like a double and a float are stored in the 32-bit world, it's like it reserves 1 bit for the sign, and then 7 bits I think for the exponent, and then 24 for the, what's it called, the mantissa, I think, and then it does mantissa times 2 to the exponent, and then it figures in the sign. And the thing is that when that happens, you're subjecting yourself to a lot of rounding that goes on during that that calculation, and especially that conversion from like base 2 to base 10. It all kind of can muddy the waters a little bit. But yeah.
Yes, I know. It can be messy. So
and speaking of recommendations, I have it here in the comments, but I put a tax rate in there of 5% just to keep things simple. But really, if you're talking about building an e-commerce site, selling in multiple different, like states or regions, you really should have like a professional level tax software product that will help you compute, taxes that are in accordance with your local laws and everything like that. That's really important to do.
good idea. Yeah.
And
That's right.
and I think all of the major like quick and easy e-commerce sites kind of have them. Like I forget the one that WordPress uses. It's like WePro or WeCommerce, I think is what it is. And then
Okay.
Shopify has their own too, where they also,
Oh,
can help you out with the tax calculations as well. But anyway,
good to know.
I just want to underscore, don't wing this one on your own.
Yeah. It is actually very true, like taxes and, it's just more complicated than you think. Okay, it's not just
Oh
like
yes.
multiply by a percentage. It's basically so many rules and yeah, regulations. Yeah. So, and then it's a good reminder. Yeah, we should be using some, yeah, service, that
That
reputable
that just
services.
handles all that. Yep,
Yeah,
absolutely.
totally.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. So here's where I spin through the product list and make sure that each one of the products gets stored out there. Here's where order by user gets updated. And oh, yep, that gets rid of the cart when we're done. So yeah, there's a whole lot of database writes that are happening here. So again, that's why that transactional annotation is really important. Oh, and here we go. Simply put, this is how we put things on a Pulsar topic.
Mm,
It's
yeah.
oh, you know what? I've totally abstracted this into a send order to stream.
Yeah.
Oh, and I have a try catch in here that's not really doing anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not a good idea.
That's okay.
Here, let me drop down a little bit here. Ah, this is what I wanted to show. There we go. And
Yeah.
trust me, this does actually work. I have tested this.
I saw that it worked. So yeah, I can testify. So,
Right. Anyway, so simply put, I have the JSON of the order up here stored as a string. We create a Pulsar producer, and then we tell it which topic we want it to produce on, and we do a create. And then really we just do a producer.send um, of the bytes of the message. That's the other important part, that it does work with or does deal mainly with the byte types.
yeah,
So yeah. And then of course, very important, when you're done with your producer, close it.
that's right. Yeah.
But I guess the other main thing to show here is that at the top, this is where I have the Pulsar client defined as kind of a private variable on the class. So right in here is actually where it's establishing that connection back with ASTRA streaming. And again, that's based on the broker service URL. And then you can see here that it authenticates with your token. So ultimately, this is how it all goes together.
Yeah. Great. Yeah. And I meant to just add in something, right? Right now, the example we're doing the messages that are not too complicated, but if you have more kind of structure that's more complicated, you can always use, there's a Pulsar schema too that you can
Oh,
also
sure.
use to, and yeah, so if you want to like like transmit your data, right, as is, and using the schema, there are different ways to that, you can use that too. But for now, yes, byte array, kind of byte, yeah, and that's kind of a default data types when it goes to messaging, sending, yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
receiving.
No,
So
and that's a good call out too. Yeah, I didn't do anything with like defining a
don't
schema
worry.
in Pulsar or anything. So yeah.
Yeah, it's a complicated thing. So yeah, one step
Oh,
at a
big
time.
time.
So you're doing the right thing. So yeah, so
All right. So now let's jump to step 5. We are going to go ahead and create our tokens here. Um, and essentially what that's going to do is we're going to go into this manage. Let's see. Oh yeah, we have a step by step that will take you through this as well. But inside my database here, let's see here. Let's go to overview. And I think it's is it these little dots? I'm trying to remember how to do this now. See, oh yeah, so organization settings and then token management. That's it. So that's got to be up from your drop down. There we go. Organization settings. See, I knew it was somewhere around here. And then we'll say token management. All right. So just to make things simple, we're going to go ahead and use the database administrator role. So we'll pick that. And I think that's really all you need to worry about. You can just go ahead and click generate token. Okay, so here are the details for the token that I've just generated. Now, this screen is going to be shown exactly once. So once you generate your token, you really want to make sure that you're copying all this down. You can see that each one of these has like, these little copy buttons over here. And you can also, hit the download token details button. That will make sure that these details are pulled down. So I'll just do that. There you go. And you see it comes down as a generated token CSV. All right. And all three of those things are going to be important to remember for later on when we actually get this application running. And of course, we have a little animated GIF here that, again, walks you through, exactly what I just did as well. All right. So of course, yes, step 5B, save your database token locally. Now, doing this for ASTRA streaming is, oh, I have to sneeze. Oh, no, I didn't. Okay. Which means it's just going to come back and bite me later. All right. But to do it for ASTRA, it's ASTRA streaming, it's actually a lot easier, I think. So I go back to, let's see here. Yeah, if I just click on the main image there, it gets me back. And then if I say click on my tenant, you can see that we have kind of the same thing here. So we have our tenant name, which we'll need, and we're going to need our broker service URL. And you can hit you can also do a download of a client conf file here as well. But then I'm going to click into this token manager. And inside the token manager, you can see that I have a default generated token that was created today. This first one never expires. You can actually set a TTL on these going forward as well too. But there's a copy button right here. And if I click that, I get a little thumbs up. And then I go over to like Notepad or Atom or something like that. My token did indeed get created. So I'm kind of saving that off on the side. So when you're all done with streaming, really you should have three things like this. You should be able to have a we're going to need to do an export on our ASTRA Stream tenant on the ASTRA Stream URL, which is again the what is it? Yeah, broker service URL. Yep. And then the token, of course, will also be an environment variable. So that is how we're going to get this all to work here. Okay, so now that we have that all saved up, we can go to the setup application. Let me just double check. I think that's where we are here. Oh, there's one more thing. One more thing. I'm glad I looked. Oh, and then I can update that as well. So for those of you who were with us last time, you'll remember that we used single sign-on with Google to get this all to work. So the way to get that to work, yeah. Okay. There actually is, let's see here, trying to make sure we have the exact steps. Do we not have that in here? No.
The Spring security.
Oh, it was in step 8, enable social logon. That's right.
Oh.
Okay. You know what? Okay, I understand how we put this all together now. We will do these in order. So those of you, who are watching this in the future, yes, we did actually follow the steps in order. So jumping back to our presentation here. All right. So essentially, we're going to invoke single sign-on with Google. You can also use GitHub, but we're going to show Google here just to kind of have one thing to cover. And there's actually a Spring Boot security component that that we have here that will allow that as well. All right. Oh, so then the next step is, yep, enable social login, right? Okay. So now, oh, you know what step I skipped?
Step
All right. So step 6. And I apologize everyone for doing some jumping around here. I'm just trying to keep things straight in my head here. With regards to the time that we have left, 34 minutes, that should be good. There's this open in GitPod button. I'm going to go ahead and right click that and open that in a new tab here. So what's going to happen is that GitPod is going to verify that I am who I am. It looks like it didn't do that last time, so I must have verified recently enough. Then GitPod is going to pull down our repository, that workshop e-commerce app repository that that we have linked here and we've been working out of. And it's going to do a whole bunch of building. And while it's doing that, you know what? I won't need that anymore. Let's jump back to here. Yeah. Okay. So the first thing we're going to do is enter all of our token and environment variables that we're going to need. So we have this file called env.example. Really, we just need to make sure that gets renamed as just .env. That way, when we start the site, it will go ahead and put in the variables that we have here. Right, and we're ready to go. So let me again increase the font size here, so that the folks at home can read. And I mean, who am I kidding? So that I can read too. But there's a couple of ways to do this. You can do a move env example to just .env. And then you can see right up in here is that that GitPod recognizes that change and updates it in your file explorer. I'm going to scroll down just a little bit here, and you can see that we have these 7 environment variables that need to be filled out. So in the previous steps, when we created our ASTRA database and token, and then ASTRA streaming tenant and token, this is where having all of that kind of like stored off in like Notepad or Atom or something like that will help, because you can grab that data and copy and paste it in. That is exactly what I am going to do here. Let's see here. Just quick have to find it on my own. Ah, there it is. Got it. So I'm going to go ahead and put in our environment variables here. Now you'll notice that that we are actually building this out in our sample application gallery. So that's why my key space says SAG e-commerce, and my streaming tenant is also SAG e-commerce. Just so you're aware that we are actually using a different key space name for the purposes of the example, but you should continue to use the regular e-commerce. All right. So now we have those created. The next thing we're going to do Oh, actually, I'm going to source in that file real quick just to make sure that everything takes. All right, and now I can do an env grep ASTRA, all caps, and look at that. I have everything coming back here. Outstanding. Okay. So going back to the README, we're going to jump down to step 8, which is enable social login. So I'm going to go out to the Google Developers Console, and there's a link in here for that. All right. And you can see I had one created out here, as we were getting ready for the last demo. But what I'm going to do, you know what, Mary, if I remember right, when we stepped through this, it was
Yeah.
different if you had an account already versus if you were brand new.
Mm.
So I'm going to follow the brand new instructions just for now. But what you want in this left nav, there's an OAuth consent screen. All right, so you'll want to click on that. All right, so if I'm here, OAuth consent screen, there we go. And then I can jump back. Yeah, and external create. Okay. Now I already have an external user created, so I've done that step. For the next part, we're going to create information about our new application here. Which I believe I have done. Yeah, so if I just go to credentials and I want to add a new OAuth 2 client. Yeah. Oh, I can just hit this create credentials. That's right. So I'm going to do a new OAuth client ID. We're going to make sure this is a web application. And I'm just going to name this Ecom 4 demo. Perfect. All right. If I bounce back to here. Okay. So for the next one, the next thing it needs is this authorized JavaScript origin. We have a command down here that'll help you get that. And really, it's what this command is going to do is essentially print out your unique host name or URL that your Gitpod instance has. So you can see it's asking me if I want to allow pasting. I do. Okay, so right here, this 8080 DataStax Dev Workshop Eco, and then there's a unique identifier, gitpod.io. That is going to be my authorized JavaScript origin. And I will add that. Oh, actually, yep. If I just put that in there, that's fine. Next, there's another command here that just basically runs the same command, but it puts this login OAuth 2 code Google on the end. And there is the URL that I need for this next piece, which is authorized redirect URI. And again, the idea here is that when we click our login button on the website, it's actually going to come to here and then redirect back once it verifies that we are who we are, or we are who we say we are. All right, and then I'm going to hit create. Now, there's a note here. It says it may take 5 minutes to a few hours for the setting to take effect. That is not the case. I have found when you do a create that it's there almost immediately. When you do an update, that's when it might take a little while to a few hours to get it all out there. But creating, from what I've seen, is usually pretty quick. Now, once you've created, you actually get your Google App Client ID and your client secret. You're going to need both of these. So again, it's a good idea to copy and save these off. But where these go is actually inside of this this directory structure of backend, source, main, resources. And in source main resources, you're going to find an application YAML file. Now, in here, you can see that we have some things for Astra that have like, that take advantage of those environment variables we've just created. But we have Google and GitHub here that says, change me. Actually, it just has GitHub. I'm going to need to change that to Google. All right. So I'm going to paste my client ID in there. Just real quick, I want to see this other one. Oh, okay. So this is the application YAML sample. I'm trying to remember. I think that this caused some kind of issue last session. So I'm actually going to delete that one. That way we just have the lone application YAML file. All right, and I need to get my secret in there yet. So let's bounce back. Yep, here is your client secret. Let me copy that. I'll add that in there. All right, that should be everything. So again, under that backend source main resources, you want to end up with one application YAML file. You may need to change, if it says GitHub here, change that to Google. And then under the client ID and secret, it'll say change me. And this is where you add your client ID and secret. All right. And with changes to that, as well as .env, I think we're ready to go here. Let me just follow all the way down here and double check. Yep, there we go. Off. Yep. Okay. Okay. Excuse me. Oh, yep. And this is the command where it moves the application YAML sample to application YAML. Then you add in your ID and secret. Okay. Well, Mary, I know that this is this has been quite the process here, yeah. But I think we're ready to start.
Oh, yeah, it's a lot of steps, so small steps.
Yeah. Let me clear that out. And if I do an ls all, and again, I think this is super cool that Gitpod gives you a Linux command line here. Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Is very much so.
If I take a look at this start.shell, you'll notice that the first thing it does is it sources in that .env, and then it's just doing a Maven Spring Boot run of our backend POM.xml. So I'm just going to call this start.shell. All right. So this is going to invoke Maven to build everything. And when it's all done, it should try to open a pop-up, which Chrome should not let it do. And those of you, again, at home as well, will probably have the same thing happen if you're running a pop-up blocker. You can see, yeah, that pop-up blocker came up here. So I'm going to click on that, and I'm going to say always allow for this. Yeah, that's my Gitpod URL there. And I'll go ahead and click on the URL to actually bring the site up. Oh, look at that. Okay. So far, this proves that our featured product table worked. If you remember, we had 4 entries in there, and there they are. Let's make sure that our oh, I suppose this is also proof that our ASTRA credentials worked because we're getting data. I want to make sure that logging in with Google worked. So when you hit login, you have this like little G button here, which is for Google. So if I click that, okay, now I have this icon up here of from a user profile. If I hit that, oh, look at that! It's got it knows me. Yeah. All right. So hey, single sign-on managed to work. Remember, folks, this is a live demo. The odds are that at some point something could get messed up. So far so good.
Really good. Yeah.
All right. So now if I go into products and let's just say t-shirts. Oh yeah, I have one product image that's not coming through.
All from your closet, right?
Yeah, these are all from my closet. That's fair. Yeah. Actually, here's my Apache Cassandra 3 contributor t-shirt.
Oh.
I'll take that in a large actually, and we'll add that to my cart. So now if I go and click on the cart or purse icon, I think this is, or bag icon, a shopping bag. There we go. Yeah, yeah. You can see that this actually is inside there. Let's get one more in here. So, if I go to hoodies, let's just go with the DataStax. And oh, that's not the MVP hoodie.
Oh.
Are those backwards?
Vintage.
Yeah, vintage, 7 years old. Oh, I must have an issue with the product data. Yeah, because the description is correct here. It's just DataStax black hoodie small. Actually, I'll make that a large. So yeah, there we go. And of course you can see that my DataStax hoodie is covered in white dog hair. That's thanks to Sadie.
You're husky.
All right, and I'll add this one to my cart also. So now if I go back to the cart icon, I can see that, yep, we've got our hoodie in there. I've got my contributor t-shirt in there. All right, I think we're good to go. So next, if I place this order, hopefully this, okay, hey, look at that. All right, so yeah, it's got order placed and it's got the contents.
Great.
So now, I don't want to go there.
Join the party.
Let's go take a look at this inside of ASTRA. So again, if I sign in as Google, oh, I see a question in the chat about what goes in ASTRA DB ID. If you scroll down on that main dashboard page, you can see that you have your databases, and right here is this database ID column. That is where you get your database ID from. So I hope that helps. I just happened to notice that.
Actually, there's also another question by the same viewer, and he was asking before that there's like a data center ID. How does it go into the .env file?
Oh, okay. So if I go back to here and look at .env, you can see that actually that's the first line in here is that Astra DB ID. Yeah. So that's where that ends up going.
But he also asking about a data center ID. Is there such thing?
A data center? I don't think so. There's region.
That's what I thought too. I couldn't find out where data center ID is.
All right. Oh, right. Yeah. So I actually wanted to jump over to our development organization. And if I click on sample application group e-commerce, and I look at topics, I should see our 4 topics out here. And I do. All right. So now if I click on try me, and let's see here. I want to look at pending orders. And I'll just put it on read because I don't want to acknowledge the message that's out there. But if I say connect, oh, there's our order. Look at that. Oh, so this one above. Oh, yeah. That was me testing yesterday. But this is the one that we just put through. You can see my Cassandra 3.0 contributor T-shirt is in there. So yeah, it looks like this came through.
Nice.
So the other piece of this is that I know that Mary and I talked about the order processor. It's actually this thing right here. So what I'm going to do next is actually hit Control C, which will break my website. Those of you, doing this on your own, you don't have to do this step. This is just kind of extra to show you how moving between the topics works. Let me see here. If I go to order processor, now I need to build this with Maven. So I'll do a Maven clean install. All right, we got 15 minutes left. We're getting there. Okay, Maven is building. And now the good news is that I rely on the same environment variables. So hopefully, hopefully this is okay. Real quick here, let me just bring this thing up so everyone can no, I don't want to install extensions for Java. All right. So this processor takes a few different commands here. Verify, I had a read only command on here, but really if you're doing a verify, that's only doing a read. I have an order ID. I never did get that functionality working of just moving a specific order. So that's not really there either. But these commands of verify, pick, ship, and complete should all work just fine. So if I go back to here, now that I've done my Maven, let's do an ls on the target directory. All right, so we have this ecom01 snapshot Spring Boot jar. Let's go Java jar and then invoke that. Okay, and I'm going to use the command of verify because that will just open a reader on the pending orders topic. And if I run this, it'll think for a second. Oh, okay. Well, it threw a null pointer exception, but it viewed the it viewed the message, so we'll call that a win.
That's right.
Okay, so now let's assume that I'm one of the warehouse workers at our distribution center, and I see this order come through, and I'm going to tell one of our like product robots in the warehouse to go pick this thing. So I'm going to send it the pick command. And it's thinking, oh, I got another null pointer.
But I found it.
Well, it showed it.
Does it? Yeah.
Oh, you know what? I didn't get the message that it moved it.
Oh.
Why not?
Oh.
Well, like I said, folks, this is what happens when you do a live demo.
Live demo, yeah, it's hard, but yeah. But you're very, very close. I mean, a little something.
Oh, wait a minute. This is a different order. Oh, this is one I was testing with. Here, let me try rerunning it once. Okay, and there's another one. Let me try one more time. I think that null pointer exception, I think it's trying to pull the order ID and the user, which on those two test orders it didn't have.
Oh.
There we go. Oh, I still got it though.
I still get, yeah. I wonder,
Now, if I run it again, I shouldn't get anything.
Doing a pick, so it's...
Yeah, it just waits there. Okay, you know what? We're going to try cheating a little bit here.
Yeah, it can be. Sometimes can be tricky.
Oh, you know what? I know what the problem is. Mary, we ran into this while we were...
I thought we kind of had some...
So let me copy the order JSON so I can put this through again.
Yeah.
There we go. And let me change that to be camel case instead of snake case.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So we are producing on this topic. So let me put this order back. All right. We'll disconnect and reconnect just to make sure. Okay. Yeah, there we go. We're just doing a read. And then I'll bounce back to this and rerun. Oh, I'm gonna have to build it.
Yeah.
Where's my command line? Oh, there we go. Yeah, I apologize, folks.
No, it's
There we
all J.
go. Now let's rerun our Java command with pick. Come on. Here, let's put this in one more time here. And I'll send. Oh, okay. That did something.
Yeah.
There we go. Okay. All right.
Oh, yeah.
So
Yep.
now you can see it picked up the order JSON and pushed order to SAG e-commerce picked orders.
Okay.
Okay,
Awesome.
so that took a little bit of finagling, but we did get it to move it from the pending topic to the pick topic. So now if I disconnect and say, let's consume on the picked topic, and I'll do the same for producer as well, even though we don't need to. If I connect, I should see our order here. Ah, look
Yeah.
at that. Yay.
You got your vintage 2015 MVP hoodie.
Yep, and there's my
So,
contributor t-shirt as well.
yeah, t-shirt
So,
too.
yeah, sorry folks, I didn't get we had a few days off here, and I didn't get a chance to give the order processor all the love it needed. But essentially though, that's it. It's so we checked out, we got the order placed, it put it on the pending queue, and then ultimately that business process moved it from, hey, this order's waiting, to, hey, this order's been picked in the warehouse.
Yeah.
So yeah. And actually, if I wanted to tempt fate, I could go ahead and do a ship on it. And oh, look at that! I pushed it to ship. See, okay, we got it to work twice. I should stop now while I'm ahead, huh?
Awesome.
All right.
Wonderful.
So, let's see here. If I start from right where we're at here. Okay. So, now we're jumping all over the place. So this is basically it. We've done the four main e-commerce subsystems. And this last one was on order. I have a maybe there by future sessions. It's just with e-commerce, there's so many things you could do that I would love to be able to at some point come back to this and maybe do one of these sessions too. Mary, I know that when we were first talking about this, that I know in your order diagram that you worked on, you had like an inventory system in there as well. So when you place from the web, you're making sure you have inventory. Maybe we could do something like that too. That would be.
I think that would be good. And then if further too, we can do a payment, like mimicking a payment authority or payment service. Right?
Yeah.
I think that also would be kind of really good to illustrate. So yeah, a future session. Yeah.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. This is fun. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. All right. Oh, and my extra reading slide keeps disappearing on me. I talked a lot about CAP theorem, and I went over that one slide pretty quickly. The two main papers that kind of drove how those things are being talked about and handled today are Amazon's Dynamo paper that came out in 2007. That really kind of set the stage for how modern distributed systems are built. And then, of course, there's Dr. Fox and Dr. Brewer's original Harvest Yield and Scalable Tolerant Systems, which is what CAP theorem was kind of born from. So yeah, I highly recommend reading through both of those. And then, of course, just specific to today, I have the 10 best e-commerce sales tax software for 2022. Remember, folks, don't do your own tax software.
Yeah. That's right. Cool.
All right. Okay, so real quick here, we have 6 minutes left. Actually, I've seen us starting quizzes with much less time left. So let's see what we can get through here. So if I hit escape and I run over to Menti. All right, and I hit present. So if you want to stick around and do the quiz, the leaders at the end will actually be we'll actually get swag sent out to them. Oh, hey, we got 20 people in already. All right. All right. Yeah, so if you're out there, go ahead and hit the thumbs up so we can get going here. Oh, I do see a point in the chat. I guess today's presentation was not involving CDC. Yeah, I know. We can only do so much, but
we will do it at the future one. So yeah.
Okay, so totally unrelated, but one thing that I'd love to do is involving like search on the website. And in which case we could set up CDC to like an Elasticsearch sync, and that would be cool to show.
Really
So
good, I think.
So yes, I know I love PlayStation, and hey, I love PlayStation 2, by the way. But
yeah,
well, maybe that'll be a future one.
Yeah,
CDC's
that's Sama. That's Sama in disguise. I found
exactly.
Okay.
All right. So hey, I see 23 people in.
Awesome.
All right. Well, let's interest of time, let's move on here.
Yep.
Hey, we have a lot of folks in. Outstanding. So let's do question. Oh, that's I love PlayStation is Sarma. Hello, Sarma.
Yeah, that's right. I saw it earlier too. So, yep.
That's awesome. Well, I'm glad you're here, Sarma. Although I'm sure this isn't as much fun as working with Pulsar and Python and trying to pull schema out of it. I'm trying to remember what format that was used. That's okay.
That's right. Yeah.
All right. Oh, it showed a leaderboard. Well, that's not supposed to do that.
Oh, really?
Uh-oh. Oh, start countdown. Here we go. Okay. So first question. Here we go. Why is ASTRA a better choice for e-commerce than a relational database management system? Is it scalability, data distribution, region awareness, or all of the above? All right. Well, really, for this one, we would have accepted any answer, but it really is all of the above. Astra as a managed version of Cassandra actually does all of these things very, very well. And of course, no ops for you to have to mess with. All right.
Great.
All right. Looks like we have Gias at the top, followed by Krasy and Dr. Centipede. Oh, and of course, somebody is named Skywalker for Star Wars Day. That's pretty awesome. All right.
Awesome.
Okay. Question 2. What? Oh, it says importance of partition key. That should be what is the importance of the partition key? Just another key, no importance. Helps support application access patterns, distributes data across nodes or data centers, or another name for a primary key. So what is the importance of the partition key? All right. Well, we would have accepted either supports application access patterns or distributes data across nodes and data centers. So most people did get that one correct. That's good. That's good. I know a lot of times those keys in Cassandra and Astra can be one of the more difficult things to understand. So yeah, that can be kind of tricky. All right. Let's see if we had changes to our leaderboard. And, oh, yeah, Dr. Centipede's moved up. Krasy is in first, and Oliver G is in third. Oh, Skywalker fell off. Oh, man. All right, moving on. So, question number 3. Which part of the primary key keeps data ordered within a partition? All right, so we have the following options. It can be the partition key, the clustering key, composite key, or a unique key. Which do you think it is? going to say I did spend some time on this one, and I know, yep, understanding keys is a little tricky. So yeah, no, that's good feedback for me to make sure that I kind of underscore those distinctions a little better going forward. But for everyone who said clustering key, you're absolutely right. The clustering key is what maintains that order within a partition. All right. Oh,
Skywalker.
looks like Crazy's staying on top. And oh, someone put in the Menti code. Wow, and they're actually doing really well. All right. Still have a couple more to go here. Things could change around quite a bit.
True.
All right, number 4. How can you invoke an atomic batch in Spring Data Cassandra? Via the atomic configuration, with the batch annotation on the method, with the transactional annotation on the method, implement a foreign key. I feel I talked about this one a decent amount. Yay, there we go. Most people got it. All right, all right.
Yep.
All right. And the person who picked batch, I understand how that could be tricky. Implementing a foreign key, I'm so glad no one picked that one. That's yeah. All right. So how did we shape up here? All right. Crazy is back. Oh, Gias is back in there too. All right. And then the Menti code is going strong. All right. 5 of 6. So almost done here. What is the technology that powers the event-driven messaging and streaming capability in ASTRA? Is it Apache Spark, Apache Flink, Apache Pulsar, or is it all of the above? All right. Hey, most people got Apache Pulsar. Yeah, that's good. That's good.
Good job.
All right. Check how things are shaping up here. Got a little change. Kaz is in there. Okay, okay, at 4th. All right. I think this is it. This is the last one. This is for the whole enchilada right here.
Yep.
Question 6. What is the messaging pattern being used when we involve a serverless broker in between to distribute the messages to the receiving side? So are we looking at message-oriented middleware? Are we looking at publish subscribe or pub sub? A message queue? Or is it really none of these? There we go. Yep. Mary, you did a good job on talking about this one. If I took anything away from what I learned in this one, it's all about pub sub. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's see how we finished up here. All right. It looks like Crazy is our winner, followed by Menti Code and then Gias. For those of you who placed in the top 3, I'll leave this up for just a sec, or you can go back to the recording later, but make sure you screenshot or screen capture this. And then the idea is that I think you're sending that screenshot to Gary with information on how to, have him send a swag package to you as well. So congratulations, Crazy, and 54696535 and Gias. So good job, everyone.
Great job.
All right. Oh, I suppose it's worth mentioning too that we do have a bit of a survey out here if you'd like to help us improve. I know I went fast through a couple of things trying to get us in time, but hey, yeah, just a little feedback would help out. So thanks, everyone. Somebody said you rock. Well, that was very nice. Yes. Here we'll jump back to let's see here, our presentation. As I said, if you have a screenshot of the Menti screen and you're in first, second, or third place, send that email out to gary.harvey@datastacks.com, and Gary will make sure that you get a swag box. All right, so homework, if you'd like to complete it, it's 3 simple things. It's add your own product to the database, add your product to the shopping cart and then check out, and then really just submit screenshots of your product page, the shopping cart with your product in it, and then the order detail page after you check out that gets shown there. And you can send those 3 screenshots right to me at aaron.pletz@datastacks.com, and have a subject line of ecom homework, and then assuming all those screenshots are good, I will make sure that you get your badge. So yeah, and if anyone needs this screen, this is also in the slides that are in the repo, as well as in the recording that'll get posted shortly. All right. Remember too that if you need help with this, or really with any of the products that we cover, and not just, I don't mean, not just like ASTRA streaming or DB or DataStax Enterprise. I mean, if you're having trouble with Apache Cassandra or Pulsar, please feel free to reach out to us. We can help you out. So this is our Discord server, and this is where we can you can interact with us. We have folks who are on around the world all the time. Eric on here is actually in Australia, and he's on quite a bit. So if you ask like at odd hours of the day, Eric will be the one who answers. But US daytime, we tend to jump on there quite a bit. All right. The other thing too is that don't forget to subscribe to our channel. That way you get notified when we post new videos or have new workshops coming up. So yeah. Other than that, I mean, this is really about it. So Mary, thank you for all your help today.
Thank you again to everyone. Yeah, thank you, Aaron and Stefano behind the scenes.
Yes, Stefano behind the scenes, big time.
Thank
you. And then Chris Wilhite as well. Again,
Chris,
the man who basically built the web front end. Yeah. So yeah, Chris, you're awesome if you're out there.
That's right, and thank you to all the audience too. So thank you. So
yep, everyone who stuck with us, thank you so much.
Yeah. All
right. Goodbye, everyone.
Bye.
And as always, don't forget to click that subscribe button and ring that bell to get notifications for all of our future upcoming workshops.
In a being gifted with powers from the goddess of Cassandra, who grew those powers until she could multiply at will, move with limitless speed, and unmask hidden knowledge. With those powers, she was able to fully understand the connectedness of the world. What she saw was a world in need of understanding. From that day forward, she sought to bestow her powers on all who came into contact with her, empowering them to achieve wondrous feats.